Hey world, and welcome to a very, very important Marvel video. This is the chronological order of all Marvel movies and credit scenes, very important, leading up to Endgame. I said it before, I'm not gonna make these videos about anything after Endgame because we're just getting started there and I need to make a cut, so this is everything up to and including Endgame. And I'm just gonna tell you what I think the correct order of the movies is chronologically. I do think there are quite a few movies that are kind of like taking place at the same time, so I'm gonna mention that. And there are two that I definitely have no idea if I'm doing this right. The first Doctor Strange and the second Guardians of the Galaxy. There are like kind of conflicting information about when those take place, and I'm not completely sure, so just put them in there where I think it makes the most sense to watch them, but yeah. So without further ado, let's just get started with the chronological order of Marvel movies up to Endgame. I'm gonna mention things about the credit scenes, but I'm also gonna do like an entire list of chronological order of credit scenes after this. So skip to this time to see the chronological order of Marvel movie credit scenes. But now, the chronological order of the Marvel movies is Captain America, the First Avenger, Captain Marvel, Hulk the 2008 film, the first Iron Man, the second Iron Man, Thor 1, and these are kind of like the second Iron Man and Thor 1 kind of take place around the same time. There's an overlap definitely because of the credit scene that mentions that Agent Coulson is going from Iron Man to the scene of Thor, so kind of an overlap between those two. Then we get to Avengers, the first one, the great one, where they all get together, and after that we have the first, all of these take place at the same time, and that's Iron Man 3, Thor 2 and Captain America 2. They're kind of all around the same time. They all deal with the consequences and the aftermath of the first Avengers movie for these three main characters. After that we go into Avengers 2, and then it's kind of not quite clear. Guardians of the Galaxy is so out of the loop here because it's not connected to any of the other characters at this point. So I think both Guardians of the Galaxy movies take place after the second Avengers. I'd watch both of these at this point, but you could also watch them later on, before the third Thor or before Infinity War even, at some point there. But I'm gonna say after the second Avengers we get both Guardians of the Galaxy movies. Then we have the first Ant-Man and Civil War. And after Civil War, again, we got a lot of movies dealing with the aftermath for different characters. So kind of after Civil War, simultaneously, more or less, we have the first Spider-Man, Black Panther, Black Widow. Those all kind of start more or less right after Civil War. Ant-Man also kind of, but then the Ant-Man credit scene takes place later on after Infinity War, so it's kind of right in between Civil War and Infinity War. It's kind of Ant-Man, the second one, is kind of the lead between those two. So Spider-Man, Black Panther, Black Widow, I kind of say those are simultaneously. Then we have the second Ant-Man, and then we have, again, you could watch this at an earlier point, but I'd say Doctor Strange and then Thor 3, because those are also connected through the Doctor Strange credit scenes. They kind of lead into each other, so I'd say Doctor Strange, Thor 3, and then obviously the Thor 3 credit scene leads right into Infinity War. That's like basically the first scene of Infinity War is the Thor 3 credit scene. So we have Infinity War and then Endgame. And again, I think those two are kind of connected as one movie. It's a little bit like Taylor Swift's Folklore and Evermore. You know, sister albums. Infinity War and Endgame are definitely sister movies. You can't watch those not together. So that's the grand finale. That is the order. I'm gonna put it up on the screen once again. And as you saw, the credit scenes do play a big part in connecting the movies and making sure that everything stays connected, and also in making it really, really complicated to see the actual chronological order, because the credit scenes kind of jump between movies. So I'm gonna just say, I told you some of the connections. For example, the Hulk credit scene takes place after the first Iron Man, because the Hulk credit scene is Iron Man saying we're gonna put together a team, and that's what they discuss with Nick Fury in the first Iron Man. So even though Hulk takes place before Iron Man, the credit scene is after Iron Man. Then again, the Iron Man credit scene is connected to the Thor movie. It actually gets repeated in that the exact same scene of Agent Coulson finding the big hole of Thor's hammer. Similarly, we have the connection of the Guardians 2 credit scene. Guardians 2 has like 5 credit scenes. Most of those are kind of unimportant and take place right after Guardians 2, but the 5th credit scene, the final credit scene, is actually a continuation of the Stan Lee cameo, and that takes place after Civil War, if you want to believe in the entire Stan Lee is one character. Because in the Stan Lee cameo in Guardians 2, he says that at one point he worked as a FedEx delivery person, and that is the Stan Lee cameo in Civil War. So if you want to believe that all Stan Lee cameos are the same person, then that means that the Stan Lee cameo in Guardians 2, and therefore the continuation of that cameo in the 5th credit scene in Guardians 2, takes place after the Stan Lee cameo in Civil War. Wow, that was really complicated. Yeah, that's that. Then we also have the connection of Ant-Man 1 and Civil War, because the Ant-Man credit scene of Sam and Steve talking to Bucky is actually again repeated the exact same scene in Civil War. The first Captain America credit scene actually is also repeated almost the same in the beginning of Avengers, the first one. So Nick Fury going up to Captain America and saying he has a mission to save the world, and he wants Cap to get back out there. Again, repeated in the first Avengers. Then we have the Captain Marvel credit scene that is actually like taking place right at the end, because it's the Avengers paging her. So even though Marvel is one of the first movies, she actually has a credit scene that connects her to one of the last movies. Similarly, we have a scene in the second Captain America, which is the Maximoff twins appearing first. You could say this takes place right after the second Captain America, because it is connected to the storyline, but I think it's more of a lead into the second Avengers, so I put it later on in the basic continuation. Black Widow takes place kind of between Civil War and Infinity War, but the credit scene is actually Yelena at her grave, so that takes place right after Endgame, and it leads into the Hawkeye series. So actually Black Widow credit scene is the very last credit scene in this continuation, and it kind of finishes up the last phase and leads into the next phase of the Marvel Universe. And also, obviously, the Ant-Man 2 credit scene of the family Pym getting dusted after Infinity War, so obviously takes place after Infinity War. And yeah, I also already said that the Strange credit scene is connected to Thor 3. Again, the conversation that Doctor Strange and Thor have is almost entirely repeated from the Strange credit scene in the Thor 3 movie. So I think that's all the important things I wanted to mention. Yeah, that's all. So as you see, the credit scenes are kind of all over the place. They connect all the movies, but therefore they make it really difficult. So again, I'm gonna put it up on the screen right now. When we go from my chronological order of the Marvel movies and the way that I see the connections of the credit scenes to the movies and how they lead into other movies, the correct chronological order of the Marvel movie credit scenes is second credit scene of Captain Marvel. Iron Man, Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America 1, Avengers, the second credit scene first and then the first credit scene, Iron Man, the second credit scene, Iron Man 2, Thor 2, the first and then the second credit scene, Captain America 2, the second credit scene and then the first credit scene leading into Avengers, then the Avengers credit scene, then the Guardians credit scenes all take place right after their movies, so Guardians 1, credit scene 1 and 2, Guardians 2, credit scenes 1, 2, 3 and 4, as I said, 5th credit scene not yet. Then we have the Ant-Man credit scene, the first one and the second one, then Guardians 2, the 5th credit scene, in connection with Civil War, and also Civil War, the first and the second credit scene, Spider-Man, the first and the second credit scene, Black Panther, the first and the second credit scene, Ant-Man 2, the second credit scene, not the first one yet, Doctor Strange, the second credit scene, and then the first one leading into Thor 3, Thor 3, the second credit scene, then the first one leading directly into Infinity War, then we have the Infinity War credit scene, then Ant-Man 2, the first credit scene of the pimps getting dusted, then we have the Captain Marvel credit scene, and as I said, the big finale is the Black Widow credit scene after Endgame leading into the Hawkeye series. I put both chronological orders on the screen if you want to check those out. Let me know if you think I've done everything right. Let me know if you think I've done everything wrong. As I said, there's a lot of scenes and a lot of movies that are kind of open to interpretation, so if you think I've done something wrong, if you think there's a different order, please let me know. I'm always interested to see how other people view this. This is how I would watch the movies in the chronological order and how I think the credit scenes are connected. So yeah, that's my order of the Marvel movies and credit scenes, chronological order. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a lot of work actually, but I had a lot of fun doing it and thinking about what I think is the right order. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is kind of the ground for all my other Marvel videos, so come back to this one if you're not sure what I'm talking about. Thank you for watching. I hope you always have a reason to smile, and I shall see you soon. Bye!